Tim, would that be an
Isn't it the
electrical
law they have
fire?
to put out a fire?
It could be caused by electrical,
Well,
but
they
if
had-
there was a fire for another reason and you had solar on your roof.
I mean, they
with
got
it.
the proper stuff on their truck for grease fires, electrical fires. I don't see why they wouldn't let it burn like that.
You know, and just think about the insurance consequences.
But-
Could you imagine if I got, Mr. Insurance Agent, I got solar on my house, well, if that house, if you get a fire, your house is burned to the ground, obviously there's a lot more risk there, which means that the additional cost would be pretty substantial and probably prevent anybody from considering solar, because their homeowner's insurance would.
Would that be from like nothing neglect of taking care of it or whatever, or just old age or not being put in right?
If
How
you
would
read-
get
read
that
some of
fire?
this and not-
You don't ever hear of it.
I mean, if you read some of this, basically it's saying a solar fire is extremely rare, especially if it's installed properly. So it's very important that you pick the right person, much like, you know, somebody doesn't know what they're doing with HVAC or title insurance, so they didn't do the proper research, then obviously there could be risks associated with it. But some people just feel like I don't want that risk, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's risk, even if it's 1/10 of 1%, it's between zero. So, but it's
Due to
very
the
important.
proper installation.
Right, and there's all kinds of rapid shutdowns. If there is a fire, there's a handle on the side of the house that you can pull. You could do it through the app. So the risk is extremely minimal, and it's
Can you
getting.
put water on an electric fire? Like
Yes.
they're saying, the wires and everything, the
Well,
electrical shop?
right,
can
if
you
you,
put
the
water?
rapid shutdown will prevent it from conducting electricity, so yes, you would treat it anyway. You would easily fit. And then there's fire lane setbacks that every township has, almost every township. You need 3-foot pathway to the ridge, you need 3-foot pathway at the ridge unless you have fire suppression sprinklers, which again reduces the risk, therefore you can have a smaller pathway at the ridge. Years ago, you could have put solar on every inch of that roof. You know, so if somebody needed to get on the roof, it was very difficult because there's panels there. But yet, and this is due to fire code, but even firemen say, if we need to vent the house, we have a window, we don't necessarily need to open a hole in the roof.
I have a question.
Sure.
My carriers are coming out with memos saying we will not insure solar.
Remember you mentioned
if it's
that.
over 50% of the roof. Is that due to they're worried about fire?
Could be,
I mean, I never called them that.
it could be.
Or the expense to replace all that solar. was
Would
now
you say it
big.
was more than 50% of the roof?
More than 50, they won't write it.
Most of the time they don't do, normally it's one side or the other, and half the roof is normally uncovered.
Well, I mentioned the fire lanes. There are two reasons why you don't need 3 foot at the ridge. Number one, you have fire suppression sprinklers, or the solar footprint represents less than 33% of the total square footage. So that's a reason why you can have a smaller path at the ridge. So what you're saying does make logical sense. I haven't heard that before, but that could be.
I'll ask them why,
Okay.
what their reason is. It could be money, really. Could just be the cost they feel it's too much to replace the solar. Even though I have to increase the coverage, when they do put solar, you do 40,000 of solar, I have to increase your house
Sure.
by 40.
So if it was 100, then.
I'm not sure what the problem
So
is.
you would think the premium would just reflect whatever the cost would be? Yeah,
I'll
I'd be
find out
very
for you.
interested to find out. And it's only some of your carriers?
No, all of them have.
Okay.
At least, the two main ones.
Really?
The third one too,
How recent is that happening?
in the last 6 months.
Okay. That's interesting. I
Because
think-
they're almost always gonna have to pay out for the fire, and that's the house fire.
I mean, there are additional benefits to solar. I mean, you put solar on your roof, it strengthens your roof, it protects the shingles, which extends the life of the shingles. So there are some trade-offs there. It insulates the house, so reducing energy costs.
No, that's all good points, actually.
Yeah, yeah. And I have a picture of a house, a solar house that went through a hurricane, and the shingles are gone, but the panels are still there. So, you know, it's,
Seeing a lot more houses, I think they're called fire shields, that they're probably putting on the bottom edges of the solar so that it doesn't go up.